Rational functions and their oblique asymptotes. You remember in the previous video we talked about horizontal asymptotes. Horizontal asymptotes happen when the degree of the numerator is 1 less than the degree of the denominator, or when the degrees are the same. Well, when the degree of the numerator is 1 more than the degree of the denominator, you're going to have an oblique asymptote. And you find that oblique asymptote by performing some long division. So what we want to do is divide x squared plus 4x into 7x cubed. Now we're missing the x squared term. Something like that. Well, what do you multiply by x squared to get 7x cubed? You're going to need a 7x. 7x times x squared is 7x cubed. 7x times 4x is 28x squared. And then we subtract. So we get negative 28x squared plus 2x. What do you multiply by x squared to get negative 28x squared? You'll need a negative 28. Negative 28 times x squared is negative 28x squared. Negative 28 times 4x is negative 112x. And then we subtract. That's 0. And 2x plus 112x is 114x, and we bring down the minus 1. Well, this is going to be our remainder. So what happens is your oblique asymptote is y equals this straight line, 7x minus 28. Whenever you're looking at oblique asymptotes, because of those things that we skipped over in the last section, those mathematical reasons why things go to 0, we're not even concerned with this. So your oblique asymptote is simply your quotient minus the remainder. That's the way you can look at it. For this next problem, look at the degree of the numerator. It's 5. Degree of the denominator is 3. So we don't have a horizontal asymptote for sure. So we're leaning towards an oblique asymptote. However, this degree is 2 more than this one. That means there are no straight line, horizontal, nor oblique asymptotes. This is the same screen that I had in the last video. It's just outlining horizontal and oblique asymptotes for us. Find all vertical, horizontal, and oblique asymptotes. How do you find your vertical asymptotes? You must completely factor. Nothing will reduce, so to find the vertical asymptote, we set the denominator equal to 0, which tells us that our vertical asymptote is x equals negative 1. For a horizontal asymptote, we look at the degrees. The degree here is 3, the degree here is 1. That means there is no horizontal asymptote. How about your oblique asymptote? For the oblique asymptote, this degree needs to be 1 more than this one. Well, this is 2 more than this degree. That means that there is no horizontal or oblique straight line asymptote.